Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you today about a journey. A journey we all take in one form or another. It's the road from struggles to strength. Now, someone might say, Jim, I don't want the struggle, I just want the strength. Well, let me tell you something my mentor told me years ago. It doesn't work that way. Strength is not something you wish for. Strength is something you develop. And the price of that strength, struggle, challenge, frustration, sweat, tears, and sometimes silence. The kind of silence that makes you question everything. That's the real tuition for the school of success. Lesson A11G. Don't curse the struggle. Blessed, I remember being broke at 25, and not just financially broke. I was emotionally bankrupt, intellectually weak, and spiritually empty. I worked hard. Don't get me wrong, but I worked ignorantly. I traded my time for pennies because I didn't yet understand value. And one day, my mentor Earl Schoff looked me dead in the eyes and said, Jim, if you don't like where you are, change it. You're not a tree. That one sentence changed the trajectory of my life. See, the struggle had me, but it didn't own me. I realized that I could harness the struggle. I could learn from the difficulty, and I could grow through the pain. That's when everything began to change. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to start blessing our struggles, because every setback carries with it the seeds of a future strength. Every obstacle you conquer becomes a muscle you develop, and you don't get strong without resistance. Lesson A2, life responds to deservedness. Not desire. A lot of people desire success. That's not the issue. Desire is easy. You know what's hard. Deservedness. Getting yourself to the point where you deserve the rewards. You say, Jim, I want a better job. Well, the question is, have you become better? Not, is the economy better? Not, is the company hiring? But, are you growing into someone who cannot be ignored? You can't walk into a room with a 10 Mallard and expect to attract to $100 opportunities. Let me tell you, if you develop strength of character, if you develop skills, if you show up early, stay late, study when others are sleeping, invest when others are spending, the world takes notice. Life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you earn. So when you're struggling to break through, struggling to be seen, struggling to stay disciplined, remember you are earning your strength. Lesson E3, the ant philosophy. Let me give you a little story. One of my favorites. It's called the ant philosophy. Ants never quit. You ever try to stop an ant? Block its path. It'll go around. It'll go under. It'll go over. And if it can't do any of that, it'll just find a new path altogether. Ants are relentless. You and I could learn a thing or two from the ants. When you're struggling, don't stop. Don't retreat. Adjust your path, but keep moving. Because strength is built in motion, not in stillness. Some people sit and wait for the strength to arrive. But strength doesn't visit the idle. It partners with the persistent. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be like the ant, consistent, creative, and committed. Lesson 4. You can't hire someone to do your push-ups. Now here's a classic one. You've probably heard me say it before, but it bears repeating. You can't hire someone to do your push-ups for you. You want strength. You've got to do the work. You want resilience. Face the pressure. You want confidence. Get uncomfortable and keep going. No one can grow for you. They can cheer for you. They can coach you. They can teach you. But you've got to sweat for your own transformation. So when you're facing the hard days, and they'll come. Remember, each push-up, each rep, each call, each failure, each try, it's you forging your strength. Lesson H50, turn your mess into a message. Let me tell you something about people. We don't relate to perfection. We relate to process. We relate to struggle. We connect through our scars. Your greatest strength might just be hidden in your biggest failure. Your message to the world. Your impact might be hiding in your biggest mess. Don't be ashamed of it. Use it. Share it. Turn your story of struggle into a lighthouse for someone else's storm. You can be someone's reason to keep going, but only if you keep going yourself. Everybody wants to be strong. Everybody wants to succeed. Everybody wants that breakthrough, that influence, that freedom. But here's the problem. Nobody wants the weight. Nobody wakes up saying, I hope today breaks me down a little more. But let me ask you a simple question. How do you build muscle without lifting anything heavy? You don't. And life works exactly the same way. See, I used to wish for things to be easier. I'd say, why can't this be smoother? Why can't I catch a break? And then one day, I heard something that turned the light on in my mind. It was this. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish for fewer problems. Wish for more skills. Now that hit me, because up until that point, I thought struggles were interruptions. I thought they were the problem. I didn't yet realize that the struggle was the process, that it was part of the curriculum of life. And if you want to graduate with wisdom, with courage, with real strength, you've got to pay the price. And that price is called pain. Let me say something bold. Pain is not your enemy. In fact, it might just be your greatest ally, if you listen to it the right way. See, pain teaches you what comfort never will. Pain says, wake up, change something. Pain says, there's something more in you. Pain says, what got you here won't get you there. You don't grow in the comfort zone. You grow in the stretch. That's where strength lives. In the stretch. Now let me tell you a quick story. I remember the first time I tried to do a push-up after years of letting my health go. I thought, this'll be easy. I used to do this in high school. Well, I hit the floor and pushed, and my arms said, no thank you. I barely made it to 3, and they were shaky. And you know what I did? I laughed and then I cried. Because it wasn't just about push-ups. It was about everything. My mind was weak. My money was tight. My habits were sloppy. My spirit was tired. That struggle on the floor was a mirror to the rest of my life. But here's what I knew: if I wanted strength, I had to earn it. Nobody could give it to me. No one could transfer it to me like an inheritance. I had to push. I had to grind. I had to get uncomfortable. And every day I went back to that floor. 4 push-ups, then 5, then 7, then 10. And little by little, I realized that the struggle wasn't breaking me. It was building me. Here's the truth: you cannot grow what you're not willing to go through. We all want the trophy, but most people want to skip the training. We all want the muscles, but no one wants the sore mornings. But I'll tell you this: the soreness is the sign that something inside of you is changing. And that change, that's the seed of strength. You want to be mentally strong. Struggle will teach you patience. You want to be financially strong. Struggle will force you to learn value. You want to be emotionally strong. Struggle will introduce you to yourself. You don't even know how strong you are until the storm hits. And when it hits, and it will, you'll have 2 choices. You can say, why me? Or you can say, try me. Because strength isn't about never falling. It's about standing up again, wiser, stronger, and more unshakable than before. And here's the good news to you: every struggle has a lesson. Every failure has a gift wrapped inside it. Every delay has a development waiting to happen. But you've got to stop running from the pain and start working through it. If you're struggling right now, I want to tell you something from the hearting. That doesn't make you weak. That doesn't mean you're losing. That means you're in training. And strength is on the other side of that session. Let today be the day you stop cursing the weight and start lifting it. Let today be the day you stop asking for less pain and start asking for more strength. Let today be the day you stop hiding from the storm and start becoming the storm. Because, my friends, every weight you lift, every tear, every rejection, every moment you feel like quitting but don't, that is your power being forged. That is your character being carved. That is your greatness being grown. Struggles are the weights. Strength is the reward. And if you'll pay the price today, you'll collect the prize tomorrow. Let's begin. There are two kinds of people in this world. Only two when it really comes down to it. Not rich or poor. Not educated or uneducated. Not lucky or unlucky. But there are those who get crushed by their struggles and those who get carved by them. Same struggle, same storm, different outcome. Now, the question we all need to ask ourselves, and you need to ask yourself this morning, is which one am I becoming? Because the storm doesn't discriminate. Life doesn't send an email before the waves hit. Struggle doesn't ask for permission before showing up at your door. Trouble doesn't check your schedule before it crashes your plans. But when it comes, you've got a decision, a critical decision. Will this pressure crush me or will it carve me? You see, one person faces hardship and says, "This is too much. I can't do it." They retreat. They break. They shrink. Another person, faced with the exact same hardship, says, "This will make me stronger." And they rise. They endure. They adapt. They learn. Same pain. Different path. Now let me give you a powerful picture. Imagine a block of marble. Just cold, hard stone. Nothing special. Then comes the hammer. The chisel. Strike after strike. Chip after chip. Someone walking by might say, "You're destroying that block." But the sculptor says, "No, I'm revealing what's inside." That's what struggle is. It's not here to destroy you. It's here to reveal you. And I want to be very clear, it's not easy. I'm not here to sugarcoat the pain. I've been through it myself. I've been broke, not just in my wallet, but in my spirit. I've had dreams collapse. I've felt alone in a crowded room. I've looked up at the ceiling at 2 a.m. and wondered, is it ever going to turn around? But I'm standing here today because I chose the second path. Not the easy one, but the one that built me. And I'm here to tell you, you can choose that path too. See, most people think strength comes from avoiding pain. That's false. Strength comes from facing it, walking into it, and deciding to grow anyway. It's easy to smile when everything's working. It's easy to show up when you're winning. But strength is built on the days when you don't feel like it. And you show up anyway. You become strong the moment you decide not to let your struggle define you, but to let it refine you. Let me give you a quote that changed my life. Hard times don't build character. They reveal it. But I would add something to that. Hard times don't just reveal character. They invite you to develop it. They say, "Come on, let's see what you're made of." And your response to that challenge, that's the moment your identity starts to take shape. Now listening, you don't get to choose whether struggle knocks, but you do get to choose whether it becomes a burden or a blueprint. Some people will come out of hard seasons bitter. Others will come out better. And that difference is not luck. That's mindset. That's choices. That's daily discipline. The question is, what are you choosing when things don't go your way? Do you curse the storm or do you learn to sail? Because I'll tell you something, struggle is the curriculum of greatness. Nobody builds wisdom from winning alone. Nobody develops resilience in a vacuum. If you look at anyone you admire, anyone with depth, power, clarity, you'll find scars beneath their smile. You'll find stories beneath their strength. And they all made the same decision. I will not let this break me. I will let it build me. So, where are you today? Are you in the middle of something painful, facing something bigger than you, tired of setbacks, letdowns, and uphill climbs? Good, because this is where the path forks. And in that moment, right now, you get to deciding, will I let this crush me? Or will I let it carve me? Will I become bitter? Or will I become bold? Will I hide from the fire? Or will I step into it and let it forge something new in me? This is not the end. It's the invitation. It's the chisel in the hand of life, calling out the masterpiece that's been waiting inside you all along. So choose well, because in the end, it's not what happens to you, it's what you do with it. And when the dust settles, let the world see you didn't just survive the struggle, you were sculpted by it. Let's get to work. We've talked about pain. We've talked about storms. We've talked about those long, silent nights when you feel like the whole world is sprinting and you're stuck just trying to breathe. But hear me now. Your struggle is not your identity. It is your initiation. It is not the reason to stop. It is the reason to rise. Every champion you admire once stood exactly where you are. Tired, afraid, unsure. But they made one choice that changed everything. They kept going. They turned breakdowns into breakthroughs. They turned pressure into purpose. And they turned pain into power. So, what about you? Because the world doesn't just need more comfort. It needs more people who are strong from the inside out. Men and women who've been through the fire and came out forged. Not flawless. Forged. People who've been knocked down, yes, but got back up with a lesson in one hand and vision in the other. That can be you. That must be you. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Now. Don't ask for life to be easier. Ask to be better. Don't ask for the load to be lighter. Ask for your back to be stronger. Don't wish for fewer problems. Develop more skill, because you don't get strong by escaping the weight. You get strong by lifting it. So walk out of this room, out of this moment, not as the person who survived the struggle, but as the one who was shaped by it. Not bitter, not broken, built. And when someone asks you years from now, how did you get here? You'll smile and say, I met my struggle, and I didn't run. I let it make me strong. Thank you.